Hey, this is V, and my most recent read was a book called Green Rider by Kristen. So the main character, Kerrigan, has just been expelled from school. Like, she showed up the son of a rather influential noble and got herself kicked out of school as a consequence. But instead of waiting around for her father to come pick her up, she decides to run away. Like, she really likes the idea of going on an adventure, and she also doesn't want to be picked up from school by her father because it feels a little bit humiliating. On her way out of the city, however, she bumps into a dying Green Rider. So in this kingdom, Green Riders are basically the royal messengers, although it sounds like they carry out a pretty wide variety of tasks, including things like being spies and so on. But he asks her to deliver a message to the king. According to him, it's such an important message that the entire fate of their kingdom might rest on her bringing it to the king in time. And this story essentially follows Kerrigan's journey as she faces all these different obstacles on her way to try to deliver this message and events that happen as a result of her actions. So this is a fantasy world where magic is now more of a story than a reality for people. Like, there was a major conflict quite some time ago where a really evil wizard created monsters and did a lot of other terrible things and ended with a dark kingdom or something being sealed away behind a wall and magic being phased out, I guess, of the rest of society because people don't really trust it. Like, it's something that people feel may be tainted, and in general just not something that people really want to use anymore and treat with great suspicion. So there are a lot of things, however, in the kingdom that are kind of remnants of this conflict, and the Green Riders themselves have a kind of legacy in this magic. Like, they still have some magic of their own, like these brooches that they carry, which are the symbols, I guess, that show that they really are Green Riders. Like, the brooches are magical and they can only be seen and handled, I guess, by people that they permit to do so. And I'm not entirely sure if they confer different abilities on people or whether they bring out different abilities in the people that they pick. But whatever the case, these riders do have some magical talents of their own, and part of this story relates to Kerrigan, I guess, learning more about magic, and also to a larger conflict that is happening where the darkness on the other side of the wall is trying to find a way back into the rest of the world. So some things that I liked. I definitely like the stories that they tell on I guess magic in their history and some of the things in the past that had happened and the monsters. And I like how it's one of those stories where you follow a lot of different characters, and I liked the way their lives kind of brush across each other without hurrying to all fit together. For instance, the rider that Kerrigan met at the beginning who died, when her father eventually does get to the city to look for her, you have a scene where he passes by the wagon that contains that person's body and sees the captain of the Green Rider taking a look at the person's corpse and stuff. I like the way these different plot lines ease together bit by bit. So yeah, I think that created a pretty good pacing for me. But something that I did not like I've mentioned before, that I do have a tendency to prefer stories with more characters. And I'm not saying this story doesn't have a lot of characters, it definitely does, but it's very single character focused for its sections. Kerrigan basically travels alone. It's just her and the horse does not talk. So, the people she interacts with are usually either enemies or just strangers, I guess, that she meets along the way. And, that's fine and all, but I think I do have a I have a slight preference for stories where you have at least two main characters in the same place at the same time who aren't enemies, because there's more dialogue and I think more interactions. Yeah, like I do have a preference for that kind of dynamic in a story.